Bot lane is the only lane you're forced to play with someone else for the majority of the game. While there are already many guides for climbing out there that will tell you to stick to a small champion pool, there's a lot to be said about a bot lane duo that synergizes well with one another. There are classic partners you already know that work well together, such as Lucian and Nami, Lulu and Kog'Maw, Yuumi and Twitch, and many more. But trying to rush and look up which champions work well with which while your pick timer is counting down can be stressful and unoptimal. So today we're going to go over how you as support can synergize well with any ADC by just knowing what your allied ADC champion does, and vice versa honestly if you're an ADC player. For one, we're going to have to both clarify the types or categories of both ADCs and support champions. Keep in mind as we go through that champions can fall into multiple categories within their own role. For the video, I'm just going to include examples of each, but if you'd like a full breakdown of how each champion falls into each category, I'll include a link below to a spreadsheet I created for your reference. We'll first start with what you're most familiar with, supports, and what their main subclasses are. The first category are tank supports. These champions are not only good at soaking damage, but also either engaging or disengaging for their teammates. Next are enchanters, and unlike their tanky counterparts, these champions are not good at soaking damage, but they offer a lot of healing, shielding, or buffs for their allies. Poke champions are champions that can do damage from afar and can generally chip away at their opponent's HP bar over time, but are normally gated by their mana regeneration. These often also fall into our next category, which is damage supports. Champions that can thrive when they're ahead and snowballing a game, but if they are behind, they can become very ineffective. That leads us to roam heavy supports, champions that prefer to win the game by roaming either alone or with their jungler to assist lanes other than bot lane. And finally, we have pick supports, champions that have some sort of long-range CC ability that their teammates can capitalize on, like Blitzcrank's Rocket Grab or Morgana's Dark Binding. Remember that each of these champions will typically fall into at least two categories. For example, we listed Pyke as a pick support here, but he's also a very roam-heavy support. Also, we listed Ashe as a poke support because in the early game, you're whittling down enemies with your W, but as the game goes on and she hits level 6, she turns into a sort of pick support with her ultimate as well. Bot laners' list of categories is a bit smaller, but they include lane bullies, champions that can dominate in the early game and whose goal it is to either kill you or out-farm you due to their lane pressure. Poke champions, which just like their support counterparts, they can chip away at the opponent's HP from afar. Utility champions, who can carry in their own right, but also have more to add to the team with their kit that include more than just damage. And of course, hyper carries, which are champions that with enough EXP and gold can completely carry a game for their team with their constant sustained damage. And once again, all of these champions will typically fall into at least two categories. Once you understand the types of supports and bot laners there are, all you need to know is what two categories, one from each role, play well together. Let's start with lane bullies. Lane bullies want a support that can help them bully the lane. Many tank supports can help them achieve the goal by starting the fight with their engage or soaking up damage while they stay behind them. Enchanters are also good because of their ability to empower the lane bullies' already strong attacks. Pick supports also work very well here because they can immobilize a target from long range and allow their bot laner to easily get in range, since many times the enemies will try to stay out of it. And finally, damage supports also work well because they have the same goal of snowballing the lane early. Poke bot laners' main mission is to whittle down the enemy's health bars in lane, potentially even killing them and scaling safely into the mid and late game. Unsurprisingly, pairing a poke ADC or APC with a poke support or damage support can be extremely frustrating for the enemy team due to being outranged. Roam heavy supports can also pair well with them thanks to their ability to stay more safe with their long range abilities. And finally, pick supports can also work well with them since it will make landing poke or a full 100-0 combo very easy. Utility bot laners will normally pair well with tank supports since they allow their bot laner to get in range to easily apply their CC. Enchanters also work well since many utility bot laners themselves have some form of healing or shielding. And finally, both poke and damage supports work well since these ADCs are normally lacking in DPS in comparison to other categories. Hyper carry bot laners pair well with those that will either keep them safe or help them scale faster. Both tank supports and enchanters can help these types of marksmen by keeping them alive through either peeling or keeping them healthy, and also roam heavy supports can work well with them if they are not against a bot lane that can easily dive them under turret when the support is roaming at appropriate times. There are always going to be exceptions to the rule with these synergy categories, but in general, this is correct. For example, in the lane bully category, Draven is very strong with Rel, but struggles with Bard. Another example would be in the hyper carry category. Kog'Maw excels with Soraka, but struggles with Brand. Again, if you want a more detailed breakdown of where every support champion and bot laner falls, make sure to check out the link in the description below. If you guys liked this video, you'll definitely like my last deep dive on support topics, which was on if Umbral Glaive was ruining the support role. See you guys next time. Peace.